Hey, if you use written sales proposals, then you need to view this video. I'm going to show you what is probably the most successful formula or template for writing written sales proposals that's ever been used. First though, some rules of engagement. Throughout the process of finding prospects, qualifying them, meeting with them, and presenting proposals to them, it's extremely important that we're not subservient. That doesn't mean that we have to be high and mighty towards them, but we have to treat them as equals. It's far easier to sell across to a prospect than it is to sell up to them or even down to them. You'll also find that we need to demonstrate a clear insight into the prospect's business, their market, the sector that they're in. That requires research, but armed with it, you'll be far stronger. And of course, we need to be friendly and socially engaging. Not over the top with it, but absolutely definitely friendly and engaging. And we need to show that we care, that we really care. Perhaps not quite as much as this, but care about our prospects and their needs and their challenges more than we care about what we are there for. Now, of course, in the end, we're there as part of the sales process. But trust me, to really take on board the needs and challenges of your customers will give you more of the outcomes that you're looking for. We also need sometimes to learn how to just shut up and listen. You've heard the old thing about God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth and we should use them in that proportion. Well, that's probably most true in the sales situation. I would also advise that you attend the first of your sales meetings alone. It's important that you build a relationship with the prospect as an equal, and that's best done on a one-to-one basis. So to summarize, the rules of engagement. Don't be subservient or overbearing. Demonstrate a clear insight into your prospect's business, the sector, the market, the industry that they're in. Be friendly and engaging. Care and show that you care about your prospects' needs and challenges. Learn how to shut up and listen for a good proportion of the time that you're with the prospect. And attend the first meeting alone. Make it a one-to-one meeting. More often than not, we're not in a position to even make that written sales proposal until we've met with the prospect. At least brought them into our world as a prospect. So how do we do that? Getting agreement to that first sales meeting. Where are your sales leads coming from? Well, there are lots of different ways of getting sales leads and getting those first meetings with prospects. It could be a question of online advertising. You could be using direct mail. You could be using social media. It could be a referral. Or perhaps it could be conventional advertising. And also, we find prospects through networking. I'm a member of BNI, and I suggest that you should consider it carefully. Not only is it a good source of networking and word-of-mouth prospects, there's some fantastic education and training associated with it too. So once we've got the prospect to agree to that first meeting, then the next most important thing is preparation. Preparation is key. You need to find out exactly who you're going to be talking to and what their challenges and needs are. You need to focus on what value you and your product and your services can deliver for the prospect. It's a good idea to find something that you can teach the prospect about their market, some unusual fact or story perhaps. Your preparation should also include identifying some compelling what we've found stories to tell. Now, a what we found story is simply an application of your product or service to the market, as in what we found when we did A led to us doing B and our product helped in way C. A couple of simple stories like that will take you a long way. It may also be a good idea to find some inspirational quotations. For example, it was actually Professor Theodore Levitt who said, People don't want to buy quarter-inch drills. They want to buy quarter-inch holes. And of course, it's a reference simply to selling on benefits instead of features. Or here's one from Henry Ford. He said, "If I'd done what my customers wanted, I would have to build a faster horse." And in going into your meeting, you should know exactly what the outcomes are that you want from them. This may be taking it a little far. I hope you see it's a question of humour. Perhaps the outcome you're looking for may simply be a follow-up meeting, or it could possibly be getting introduced to other key people in the prospect's team. Or perhaps it could be to convert the prospect into being a qualified prospect, someone that you know has a need and the ability to pay for your product and who it would serve well. So in summary, getting ready for that first sales meeting. Who are you going to be meeting and what are their challenges? You need to know before you go in. The conversation may change what you think in terms of these, but you really should have some idea before you enter the meeting. You should be focusing on the value that you can deliver for that particular prospect. You should know it inside out. You should identify something that you can teach the prospect if you possibly can. And you definitely should have some what we found stories. And it could also help to have some pertinent quotes to use during the meeting. And finally, to know exactly what outcomes you want before you go in. This presentation is built on the premise that the process we're going through is to find prospects, to get them to agree to a meeting, have a follow-up meeting, and then to be able to propose in writing to them the solution that you're offering. Of course, there are many instances where it's not that case. It might just take one meeting. It may even require no meetings, or it might not require a formal written proposal. You can modify the thinking here and the things that we're teaching to match those various situations. So let's have a look at meeting 1 of this standardized process. There are 6 steps, 6 stages to the meeting if you like. First, it may sound strange, but we want to establish a rhythm. We want to get some momentum to the meeting, to get the conversation moving. We don't want it to be stunted or to be shallow. We want it to actually be moving along. It's good to start with an icebreaker, especially if you've got some insight into what the prospect may like to talk about. It could be football, the weather, family, whatever. It may just be some aspect of business, marketing. It could be anything. But you need to find something that you have in common to use as an icebreaker. When the ice is broken, it's important to quickly move on and transition into the agenda itself. And the main part of the agenda for a first sales meeting like this is to share experiences and to add value to the prospect's business and their thinking. Now, obviously, that is from the perspective of the products and services that you're using. But you should be prepared to widen the conversation as much as is necessary. 5th, we begin to use our what we've found stories. And finally, we're going to confirm the next steps. That could be a further meeting, it could be the proposal, it could be a number of different things. But whatever it's going to be, you need to confirm it, and also to confirm when it's going to happen. You should also make it a personal rule to never let the meeting overrun. Experience says the consequence of letting the meetings overrun is frequently that the prospect resents the extra time being spent and is more likely to avoid further interaction. And going back to the rules of engagement and not being subservient, for that reason, do not finish with a thank you. Thank you for your time, for example. Use instead, I enjoyed our time together, I've learned a lot from it, or something similar. Something that treats the person as an equal rather than someone that you're selling up towards. It's important that you follow up any meeting that you have with an email fairly quickly after the meeting. Then also, before and just before your next meeting or the next stage, send another email then, just to confirm what's happening. So let's have a summary and look at what we're involved with in that first sales meeting. We're establishing a rhythm. We're using an icebreaker. And then we're going to share our experience and add value to what our prospect is doing. We use our what we found stories and quotes to make the conversation more lively and interesting, and to reinforce confidence in what we're doing and that we know what we're doing. We confirm the next steps and the timescale for them. And we don't overrun, and we don't thank the prospect for their time. Now, assuming this to be a follow-up meeting, we call that meeting 2. Much of the preparation for meeting 2 is like that for meeting 1. However, there are some differences. You'll begin working on co-developing a solution, coming up with a solution for the prospect's challenges and needs that you can deliver value for, that's owned by both you and the prospect. You're going to be painting a picture of the future, of the sunlit uplands of how good life or business will be with your product. Work backwards from that picture to show the steps that you'll take to deliver that result. Write down an outline of the timeline. This is not the final one, that can go into the proposal. And then try to agree the contents and the timing of the written proposal and the follow-up to it, so that you're not wasting time putting things into the proposal that are not needed, but you are covering all of the bases of what's expected. In summary then, in meeting 2, we're going to co-develop a solution and get some joint ownership. We're going to paint a picture of the future. We're going to work backwards through steps from that bright future that you've painted. We're going to write the potential timeline for the delivery of your service or product. And we're going to agree what your proposal will say and when it will be delivered by. And so we come to the actual writing of the proposal. First things first, give the proposal a compelling headline. Make it interesting and slightly different. Don't make it boring. It sets the tone for the whole thing. Include a summary straight after that strong headline that goes through the problem or the pain that your prospect is suffering that you are going to alleviate. Spell out specifically the objectives that you're going to achieve and the measures of success that will be used to confirm what you've actually done. Specify the value that you will deliver. Try to do it in actual money so that that value can be compared to the price that you intend to charge. Provide within the written proposal a more detailed timeline for your work and also for the flow of benefits. Outline the improvements that will be seen from the beginning. Whet their appetite by letting them see that there is low-hanging fruit to be picked, things that can be improved immediately. Confirm who will be responsible for what, and that includes what the prospect will be responsible for doing. And then, instead of just giving a proposal, preferably give 2 or 3 options for the prospect to select from, any one of which you're happy for them to say yes to. Provide a clear step-by-step guide on how to accept the proposal that you've made. Okay, so let's summarize the written proposal. We're going to use a compelling headline and then to summarize the problem or pain that the prospect is suffering from. Of course, that could be simply that it's an improvement that they've got. It may not actually be the solution to a problem or a pain. It may just be something that you can improve, such as productivity. We're going to clearly state what the objectives of your work are and the measures of success that should be applied to it. We're going to state the value you will deliver, and we're going to do that in monetary terms if possible to allow that to be compared to the price that you intend to charge. We're going to detail the timeline and also who will do what within the project. And we're going to provide 2 or 3 options, any of which we're happy for the prospect to say yes to. And we'll explain exactly how to accept the proposal. You can download an example of the written proposal and also a Microsoft Word template at www.businessmarketing.org.uk. For your next steps, download the example and template of the written sales proposal. Check out our other webinars, including our networking webinar. And 3, get in touch if you need help with any aspect of on or offline sales. Check out the website businessmarketing.org.uk or contact me, Jeff Fitzpatrick, directly. My telephone number is 0776 468 0791 or email me jeff@businessmarketing.org.uk.